I have a very unique childhood. So I'm a child genocide survivor. I was a child political prisoner. I escaped being buried alive. I fled conflict. My father was poisoned, and I arrived in the UK at the age of 6 as a refugee. I absolutely believe that one act of kindness can change the world. It's a bit like laying down a domino, which sets off a chain reaction of dominoes. And through my lived experience, I have experienced kindness in so many forms, from the drivers that rescued us before we were about to be buried alive, to the family that treated us like their own family when we came and arrived in the UK as refugees in 1988. I think leaders are key to driving culture in an organization to help drive performance. And actually, it's what we do within the Lotus Flower. We started from absolutely nothing in my living room, just me, to now I've built to a team of around over 130. And we have a very strong culture, and that culture is making everyone believe the purpose and be part of the purpose and see the vision. So you carry them with you to believe in the purpose and the vision, and you have to give them autonomy. The moment you give them autonomy and trust to deliver on their purpose as part of the mission, that's when you see the most amazing results and changing culture. Through my own experience, for me, resilience is something that I've built through adversity. I've had many, many obstacles in my life, which have really added and strengthened that resilience muscle. But I don't believe everyone has to go through adversity to experience resilience. I think you can learn it from other people. So, for example, if I've gone through lots of adversities and I've learned resilience through that, I can pass on my sharings and my insights and my knowledge and experience. It doesn't mean that you have to go through all that adversity to experience resilience. It's within us, but we can find it in different ways. Through our experience, and we are, I'd say, a very bootstrapped charity that has massive, impactful work. We have faced lots of times of uncertainty, be it COVID, be it the constant conflicts around the world that are changing, the funding decline. That's been all challenges that we have faced. And as a team, one of the key things that has really made sure that we kind of collaborate together is over communicating. So over communicating removes any form of uncertainty, and honesty is always the best policy I've found in our organizations. Also, in situations like that, you have to anchor the purpose. Just remind everyone of the purpose and not the plan. So you kind of connect and collaborate through that again. Leaders, and in my experience as well, have to absorb a lot of the fear and not amplify it. So you kind of hold your team together. But there are ways of doing that. And I think the best way is over communicating to ensure that there is no uncertainty and people are assured with that honesty. I have a very unique childhood. So I'm a child genocide survivor. I was a child political prisoner. I escaped being buried alive. I fled conflict. My father was poisoned, and I arrived in the UK at the age of 6 as a refugee. So by the age of 6, I'd experienced a lot. And there are so many things that actually I had learned during that time, which I think has really added to my adult life and leadership. Obviously, what I'm doing now completely relates to my childhood experiences, and that's been a lesson in itself. But there are other factors. I think resilience and emotional intelligence is heightened from my childhood experience, and empathy and compassion has been heightened as well. And I think they're great lessons that I've carried through my leadership, which has amounted to the impact that I've created. So I think they're both connected. And the thread between all of that really is that every small action really compounds into something bigger. And so everything that I do and look at is always through that lens of what small action can I take that compounds into something bigger. And I believe that everything is solvable. There's a solution to everything. I think emotional intelligence is becoming every leader's competitive advantage for so many different reasons. I think for me, I'm at an advantage already because I've developed emotional intelligence from a very young age because of my experiences. In this current day and environment, the nature of work has shifted. I think it's moved from execution to collaboration. People are experiencing more burnout. And so the business risk is not just a personal one. You have to think about how you connect with your employees as humans. And that's key, is really reminding yourself that every single person is a human with a life outside of work. Therefore, how do you include them and cater for their needs and be flexible? I think flexibility within our organization has been key for retaining staff. Remaining authentic. I'm very authentic with my team, and I allow them to connect with me, and my door's open for anyone that wants support. So remaining human is the key. There are so many issues that are still holding women back. We've seen some improvements. For example, there's been a lot more focus on trying to get women at exec levels, but I think they're going through the door maybe, but they're being stopped halfway through the stairs. So I think more at management level, more women at management level might not be supported. I know there's lots of issues around flexible working. People now want that balance of being able to have a career and have a family at the same time. So flexible working is key. And for businesses, I think understanding that women as talent are phenomenal for organizations to really, really move and drive performance. What can you do to accommodate and make things easier for them to be at work, and how do you include them at every decision-making table on different levels? At this point in time, I don't think AI can feel, so it has no compassion, which I think is a good thing. I'm not sure we would want machines to start feeling, to start knowing how to manipulate humans. That would be quite a dangerous thing. So I don't think AI can feel compassion, but it removes our excuses for not moving or not acting. So for example, we might not act on something not because of the lack of compassion. It might be the lack of understanding, distance, the complexity of the issue, the cost of the issue. So what AI can do is add context to the situation for us to be able to feel, but it doesn't help us feel, if that makes sense. And also AI amplifies whoever's holding it. So if it's someone who doesn't have compassion, therefore that AI will have no compassion. So I think it's really dangerous to have compassion combined with algorithms. We can already see what algorithms are doing with bias and how that shapes society. I'm not sure if we should include compassion into that. Compassion should be left to humans. Give us the information that we need to feel compassion in any scenario, but I don't think they can be part of the compassion in that way. They can give us the facts and the context. Compliance is what keeps an organization legal, and sustainability is what keeps the organization going. And for a leader, that's important because you have to think about innovative, creative, out of the box thinking to keep your organization running. I think they're two different functions and they do meet in the middle, but it's very critical to sustain an organization to be able to do everything that you need to do, which includes compliance. The biggest thing that I want audiences to take away from my speeches, regardless of what environment they're in, is that they go away believing, not being inspired, but totally believing that they can make a difference in the world by taking small actions that will compound. So that's why I use the domino effect as an example, because every domino that each person lays down creates a chain reaction that compounds into a big action. It's my life is living proof of that, and I have many examples of how that has happened. And I've done many talks where people have gone away with that belief. So inspiring people is brilliant, but I believe that I want people to walk away from my talks to believe that they can make an action.